All right, so in part 2, we're going to actually do the text. So by now, you should have your outline of whichever animal you chose, and you should also have a list of 20 to 30 words in your notebooks. Now we're going to actually type up those words. So you're going to want to come over here outside of your artboard. So this is like your workspace. You're going to grab your type tool, just the regular type tool. You're going to create a decent sized type box. Try and change your font to something large like 48 point. Keeping it the standard font is fine for right now. So then you're going to start typing up your words on your list. So the first word I have is golden. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of shrink this box down a little bit, but still have it long. I'm going to hold down Alt and I'm going to make some copies. So I have 5. So that's 10. Hold down Alt again. All right, that's 20. And that's 30. So I'm going to type in all of my words here in the boxes and then I will come back. So you need to create your text boxes and go ahead and type in all of your words as well. Okay, so now I have my 30 words, my list here. Then what I'm going to do to each one is I'm going to pick different fonts. Now all your fonts need to be easy to read, but it doesn't really matter too much what you pick. Some fonts can be a little bit more decorative, some fonts can be bold. If you have words like, let's say, soft or fuzzy, maybe you can find a font that kind of has a soft look to it. Like this is kind of like this S, it's kind of nice and soft. So just try and find different text. So basically you're then going to take your 20 to 30 words and you're going to have different fonts on all 20 or 30 of them. And then we will start adjusting sizes and outlining them and starting to place them. So go ahead and change all of your fonts. All right, once you have taken all of your words, your 20 to 30 of them, and you've changed the fonts, so you have different fonts on each one. And real quick, if you didn't remember how to do that, you just click on them, highlight, go up here, and change your fonts, okay? So pretty easy. Now that I have all of them written out in different fonts, I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to zoom out, I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to hold down Alt and I'm going to make a copy just in case we made some mistakes. So you can throw that up somewhere, just make sure it's like out of your way. You can even put it on a separate layer if you want. Then I'm going to select all of my originals. I'm going to right click and I'm going to come down to create outlines. And what this does is it changes it from text into an image. This allows us to easily enlarge them. You can even kind of squish them together a little bit, stretch them out, whatever you need to do. So then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to start taking all 30 of these words, or 20 of them, and you're going to start placing them in areas that make sense. So I have this word tail, so I'm going to put it where the tail's at. I'm going to put the legs over here. So right now I'm just kind of placing them, and then I'm actually going to start changing the sizes and rotating and moving them around. So what you're going to do is you're literally just going to start moving these all around and adding all your text in. And then once I have these kind of placed, I'll come back and show you guys how to start fitting them together. Okay, now that I've moved all of my outlined text inside of the outline, now this is where it starts to get technical and where it's going to start taking some time. So here you're going to want to zoom in and just work on one part at a time. And you're going to do kind of a different number of things. I want this word tail to kind of fit in this outline of the tail a little bit better. So I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to ungroup it. What ungrouping allows me to do is it allows me to make one letter larger at a time so I can actually kind of fill in some of these areas. Now it doesn't have to be perfectly filled in. We just want it for the most part. And then I'm going to kind of stretch this guy down. Okay, we want it to kind of take on the shape of the outline. So once I'm done with this one, I am going to regroup this back together just so things don't get too messy. So Control G to group. Then I'm going to kind of work on my next word. Now you can actually make them larger. And then I'm going to right click and ungroup. Now let's say I want to make this N a little bit more sideways. I can turn it a little bit. I'm going to stretch this E up, kind of stretch it, move it over a little bit. Make this D a little wider. There we go. I'm going to kind of leave the L alone because I don't want to mess with it too much so it looks different. Make this taller. So basically you're going to sit here and you're going to manipulate as much as the text as possible. Some parts we're probably going to have it overhanging just a little bit, and that's fine because I'm going to show you guys how to trim it off. So basically you're then going to come through and you're going to do this to as much of the words as possible, stretching them, kind of filling them in, and then I will come back and show you what we do after that. So once you have these kind of laid out, then you're going to come in, stretch them, fill out the places. If you go over a little bit, don't worry about it. I'll show you how to take care of that. Once you're done with each word, go ahead and regroup it. Just so everything's organized. So I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to kind of stretch out some of these words so I can show you the next step. All right, so now I've placed all of the words, and as you can see, I ungrouped them and I kind of made some letters larger than others, so everything kind of fits pretty nicely. You know, if you want to stretch a few things out, once you kind of zoom out, you can see some things. So I might ungroup this guy and just kind of bring this T down a little bit. What's nice is I'm going to show you guys how to actually trim these. So once you have all of your letters kind of in place, as you can see, there's a few overlapping things, and that's fine, but we want to be able to trim these off because essentially we want to get rid of this outline and have all this text kind of trimmed in here because we want it to fit a little bit nicer, and we don't want to have that outline. So basically, just making a few little corrections now that I can see them. Okay, so once you have everything pretty much in the place that you want, you're going to click on your outline, just the outline, none of the text. And you're going to right click and you're going to go down to Arrange and you're going to bring to front. So it's really important that your outline is on front of all of your text. You could even change it colors if you want. It's really up to you. But you just need to make sure that it's technically on top of all this text. Then what you're going to do is you're going to click and drag over the entire project. And then you are going to right click and go down to Make Clipping Mask. If you did this correctly, it will trim everything to your outline. So then you can see how it's kind of trimmed these areas. So now I have this pretty fluffy Cocker Spaniel with a little short tail. So once you've done with this, you can still see when you kind of click, the outline is technically still there. It's just clear, and it acts as a mask to trim off the other parts. So technically we did not delete that part of like the letters, like the T here and things. We've just trimmed them and hid them. So we didn't actually destroy them. So once you're done with that, you can go ahead if you wanted to and use the selection tool, and you can select letters and you can actually change the color. So let's say I'm going to select golden, and technically you can do this before too. It's not something you have to do only afterwards. If you want to change colors, you can do it before you trim. Let's say I want to make the word golden, golden. I can change other colors too, but that's really up to you. You can also leave it black and white if it looks good for your animal. The colors do look nice, but it's really up to you guys. So once you've done your outline, you've placed your text, you've changed all the sizes to where they fit a little bit better, and then you trim it. You're done. So after you've gotten to this point, you then go ahead and go down to File, Save, and you're going to save your typography animal to your folder, and then you are going to turn it into Google Classroom.